So, yeah, this is, of course, the Kitsap Sun's editorial board. We're talking to Jonee Dubos.
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 That's what my father-in-law says.
Pronounce it right. Jonee Dubos, who's a candidate for Bremerton City Council. Excuse me, Bremerton School Board.
Oh my goodness, no.
I know, that one's coming later.
Bremerton School Board?
Bremerton School Board.
Bremerton School Board.
Yes. And which district?
Well, I'm running for position 3.
Position 3, okay.
So, but I think everybody gets to vote.
Right, these are all kind of Okay, well anyway, thanks for coming. What we invite you to do is kind of take 2 minutes and tell us about yourself, about your background, and why you're interested in doing this.
Okay, well, I am pretty much a lifelong resident here. I came to Bremerton when I was 5. Went to Arminjar, went to the junior high when it was 7th grade only, then went to Kegel, and then graduated from Bremerton in '84. And then I have 3 kids that went through Bremerton School District. I have 1 at Wazoo, and then a junior and a senior this year, 2 boys, stressing me out. Let's see, I have a business in Bremerton, and it is an accounting business, and then my husband also is a graduate from Bremerton High School as well. So I guess the only time I ever went away was when I went to college.
Where'd you go?
Wazoo. I went to Wazoo, but then my dad started a dry cleaning business, so I didn't finish at Wazoo. I came back and worked in the business. So we come from a family of self-employed individuals. So we did that. As far as I've done in the school district, I have an accounting degree. I have a 4-year accounting degree that I finished at City University, and I've been volunteering in the school district since my daughter was in kindergarten at Crown Hill. And just been as involved as I could in the classroom. That's where I wanted to be. I love working with the kids, and I love getting to know my kids as friends. And when I got to the middle school, my kids said, hello, you're not coming into my classroom anymore. So I tried to be involved as I could at Mountain View Middle School. They were always very receptive to volunteers, but mostly involved in PTA and fundraising and their after-school activities. And now I'm at the high school involved in their PTA and as involved as I can be with my kids' activities. They're in sports, so I'm in their booster club, and again, trying to get to know my kids as friends and their teachers and get to know as many families that are involved my kids' lives and my community.
So you've been a volunteer for a number of years, different places in the district, elementary, all through. PTA was one of those things you've been really involved in, and you said you spent some time in the classroom.
Yep, I was just I was a parent volunteer pretty much from kindergarten through 5th grade, either helping, in the classroom with snacks or correcting, whatever the teacher needed. I was there at least once and twice a week. I did help with the Rotary Reading Program for about 3 years. I got to go in and read with kindergartners, which is really fun because I had no kids at that age group, and I forgot how fun they are and how busy. And then I did substitute. I started substituting last year. I got to do that 3 times at West Hills Elementary, and I did a Montessori class and then a 1st grade class, and got to experience a little bit of the math curriculum, which was okay. So, but I can't do that if I can't sub if I'm on the school board.
Well,
so.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, it seems like you have had.
I wish I could. I really like it.
You've had quite an impact on the schools. It's something you enjoy being in there and being in touch with stuff. Why do you want to do this role instead of just continue as a volunteer?
Well, my kids are getting to that age. My boys aren't as responsive to letting me be there as my girl was. They were like, Mom, why do you do that? Because I love being there. So I just feel that I have more to offer in the school district. I feel like I'm getting my momentum going, especially when I started substituting, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is really fun. I really liked working with the kids. I liked getting to know the teachers and how complicated it's been for them and difficult, and that's just, touching on the beginning of it and how they're struggling with the curriculum and the constant changes every 3 years, it seems like. So, and then the school board has always been in the back of my head, but with my kids, I didn't think that would be a good thing because I really like to go to all their activities, which is after school, and my kids are pretty involved. So now that they're going to be gone here in another year or so, I figured, well, while it's still fresh in my head and I have energy, I think that's something that I wanted to do.
So your experience, a lot of hands-on stuff, in the schools.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at the school board, which is
Shifting.
a little bit different. You've got a lot of bureaucracy, politics, internal politics, personality conflicts.
Yep.
I mean, so how does your skill set of what you think you can accomplish translate from person gets their hands dirty in the classroom to
That's a great question. So maybe the politics side, I'm not so good at it because I sit on the Kitsap Alliance soccer board currently, and that's been an interesting, we've come together with 2 other clubs in the last 2 years, and that's been quite, as far as politics and being sensitive to boards and bureaucracy, I've had to deal with that in the last 2 years. And then as far as handling employees, I haven't negotiated contracts or did anything like that, but I feel that sitting on boards is something I have a lot of experience with. The Kitsap Alliance Board, and the Bremerton Schools Foundation Board, I've been on that for about 8 years. That one doesn't have a whole lot of employees or anything. It's just a fundraising board, but it is a board and it does have nonprofit rules and procedures, and I feel that is a next step. And we just passed our budget at the school board, and I spent about a whole week going through that and met with the financial officer at the school district, who was very gracious to take the time to go through that with me, because there was a lot of things I didn't understand and where the numbers were going. And with my financial background, I can dissect a financial pretty well, but if I don't have detail, I don't know what it means. So there is a huge learning curve when it comes to big budgets like that. We're talking millions of dollars that I haven't, but you just add zeros.
I'm sorry.
You just add zeros.
It's that simple.
Yeah, not really.
Step back just one moment. You said you were involved in the recent budget and kind of sat down and went through it. What was your role? Why were you doing that?
Well, we had the school board approves the budget. So
this is your role in the foundation?
This is a role in the school board. Oh, I'm sorry. So let me back even more. So right when I put my application in to run for school board, Kevin Watkins his position had come open.
Okay.
So I thought I would apply for that position to get kind of a head start and get some experience. Well, I was the only one that applied. So I got it.
And what position was that?
It's Ken Watkins' position number 3. So I'm a temporary school board member right now.
You're already on school.
I am. So I'm grateful for that because I'm getting a running start on, like I said, the school budget, and then apparently they're working on the teacher's contract and the school bus contract and a lot of things, and I'm the one that's raising my hand all the time going, okay.
And when did you get on that?
Let's see, July 7th. Yes, I've been to 3 or 4 meetings now.
You should have done that.
I know, well, it's kind of an odd thing, actually.
Yeah. I have a question about the McCleary decision. What do you think that the legislature needs to do to meet the Supreme Court decisions?
Well,
expectations.
Expectations as far as funding all the education for one of the things that I learned at the last school board meeting was, and how the budget was dissected on, is the different levels of what they're funding as far as regular education versus special education. And it was surprising to me that as Bremerton School District, we have a higher level of special education in our district that we're not getting full funding for, which takes away from our other budget needs, which is funded by levies. So I don't have a clear answer for that because I'm still learning on that, but I would feel that we need to have full funding so that we don't have to go to our community.
So I guess I don't understand. You mean you are supposed to get full funding for this through the state, but you are not
because every school, so, and I might butcher this a little bit as the way I understand it, but when we have education needs and we have special education needs, every school district gets a percentage that goes accordingly. Well, some school districts have higher special education needs based on their demographics, and Bremerton School District has that. So we don't get as much as another school district would get based on their numbers because for special education. So some of that money has to come from other sources. And so I don't want to totally...
So the gap you have to fund as a school through your own budget.
Yeah, and that's actually one of my things to find out more information on and understand it more clearly as I start this process. Even if I don't stay, you know, if I don't win, I don't get to stay in November, but even if I don't, I would still want to understand it more, even as a voter for levies and bonds, yeah. So it's very complicated.
What are you compensated on the board?
We get $50 a meeting for, so you have an option to take that or not.
During the years that you've been...
Does that answer your question? Okay.
During the years that you've been a volunteer parent, what has your opinion been of the school board during that time?
I am a half glass full person. I'm very optimistic, and I have always felt when my kids were little, I didn't really pay attention much to the school board, honestly, because everything was going well. And then as my kids got into middle school and sports and all the other things going on, I started paying a little bit more attention to it. And that was when Betty Hyde was there, and I got to work with her on a couple of projects. I've liked it, and even flip. I think the school board has worked very well together as a team. I've got to meet with a couple of the principals and talk to them a little bit about the school board, and I've got nothing but positive results. And I'm in the schools even before that, and it's always been a team environment, a very, it's not a us against them. It's always been, well, this is what we have to work with, this is how we're going to make it work type thing. And I felt it was very supportive and very positive, which I like. I don't want to be on a dysfunctional board.
What's your opinion of Aaron Lavelle?
Oh, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. Just because whenever so far I've asked him anything, he's been very open, very receptive, and if he doesn't have the answer, he gets it to me in a reasonable amount of time. And I appreciate that. And even when we've had, just in the meetings that we've been in, I think he's very perceptive on who his audience is and how he talks to his audience, which I also appreciate. When people are at the board meetings are open to the public, anybody can come, and he's just very perceptive of who his audience is and make sure everybody is welcome and that they understand, and if they don't, the information is available if they want it.
So if you are elected, what would you like to see happen? Are there things, goals you have as a... I do have some goals. So when my kids were little, I kept telling my kids, you're all going to college. You're all going to college no matter what. I put that in their brains looking, well, when things change as they get a little older. And now I've seen 3 of my kids learn 3 different ways and go in 3 different directions, which is really awesome. But I've noticed that I've had to change the way I think, and that means having more options besides college and making sure that the kids are ready just for the work world and make sure they're ready for to go into a field like electrician or plumbing or something that's maybe not college bound, but is definitely career or technical school or skill based. So one of my things would be and the Skill Center is amazing. I truly think that's an amazing thing that we have in our area and appreciate. But even at Bremerton, I would like to see more of the CTE classes, which would be like a marine biology class or an accounting CTE,
class.
I'm sorry.
It is.
Stands for.
That's a really good question. That's what they call it. I think it's for classes for skill-based classes. I have learned so many acronyms in the last 3 weeks that they all kind of jumble in my head a little bit, especially with the contract. But there are classes for skills, like an accounting or computer classes, so that you've wanted to do some computer programming or those kind of things. So I'd like to see more. I think at one point they went more to the STEM, I
think it's career and technical education.
That's it.
Oh, thank you.
That's good. That's it. So and I really appreciate the STEM side of it, but I think we need to come back a little bit more on those career classes.
So a lot of school districts in the Puget Sound region have eliminated their wood shop, metal shop classes.
Wood shop, oh my
I
goodness,
spent
that'd be
a
awesome.
lot of time in an industrial career, and we had a hard time finding people who had experience because everybody wants, the kids want to be computer geeks and engineers and things like that. So what is the status in Bremerton? Has it, did they cut their classes? Has it been steady? I know you said you wanted to increase it, but what's been the history over the last 5 to 10 years in these classes in the Bremerton School District?
They've added a lot more science and and art. I don't want to say art, I can't really say art, but more science classes. I've been looking for my kid to have some of those, a wood shop or a metal shop class. They had that when I was at Bremerton, and it was one of the most popular classes to get into.
They don't have it anymore?
They have, we have an amazing engineering side though. My kids have both taken it 3 years. Amazing. The equipment that is in that class, they're engraving, they're making things, they're doing robotics in that class. It's pretty awesome. But again, if you're not interested or if you're ready for something a little different to work more hands-on, they don't have that. They do have an excellent auto. They have a semester one, and then they have a year-long class that both my kids have done as well. Not my girl, my boy. But, and those have been really great, but I think the wood shop, I took accounting 2 years in high school. That's how I got into accounting.
They don't have accounting?
They don't have accounting. Yeah, I just think some of those classes would help because accounting is like a whole new language, and when you get to college, it's like learning chemistry. It's a whole new language.
What's your attitude about testing? That's been in the news quite a bit.
Testing is a big one. If the test results are used properly, I think that can be used very well. If to hold them as a graduation requirement, I don't agree with. I think everybody tests at different levels, and my son is not a good tester, but if you give him a verbal test, he'll blow it off the charts. So testing, and they do make accommodations for those kinds of kids that need a different way of testing, but to have it as a graduation requirement, I don't think is appropriate. I think testing is a good way of measuring the progress of the classroom or the teacher or the school to see if they're on track for the direction, but to use it in any other way, I don't think is appropriate, just from a parent standpoint. I haven't, and I actually have started looking at test results and dissecting them, and they can be looked at any way. They can be skewed, I think, as far as who takes the test and what time of year. I guess they all take the test at the time of year, but it's based on what's taught. So if your kid hasn't taken that class, or especially in the high school or the junior high, they're not going to test well.
So you're talking about tests that are outside of the classroom?
Yes, not like a midterm or a final. No, not your regular, the state testing. I think they're good. I think they can be a good tool if the results are used the way they were originally intended.
But it's required that they take these tests. So
not everybody's taking them.
Not everybody's taking them.
And if they don't take them, then what's the repercussion if they don't? It's causing the scores at the state level to be lower. And it's skewing.
It is skewing.
So what's the repercussion on the student for not taking the test?
Nothing on the student, because as I understand it, for this one, the parents can have the student opt out.
Okay, so it's reflecting on the school and then its ability to get funding or whatever. I mean, it's a vicious circle.
It is a vicious circle. That's what I meant. The tests, they're not used the way they were supposed to be meant for.
Well, why is it optional for the kids to not take the test or not?
You know, and I just found out that some schools opted in and opted out, so I don't have an answer for that, but that is also one of my questions, because I don't understand. I know last year my kids were having to, and they were active in sports, so they missed, come in. They were active in sports, and so one of my kids missed his test, and then.
Oh, is David not in here yet?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, you're in a different one,
Yeah.
sorry.
Anyway, so he had missed this test. Well, then he had missed in order to take this test, he had to miss the study session for his final. I'm like, well, that's backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the school was trying to make sure we got the requirements done, and it's their first year with this new test, and they were trying to be in compliance, and it was just a mess. I don't understand it.
What do you think about the teachers? I mean, do you feel like that the teachers are, I know teachers have been pushing for smaller class sizes and that type of thing. How do you feel about that?
Well, when I substituted, I had, I think I had 20 little guys running around, and I've been a campfire mom. I can handle, I can handle the kids. I wasn't worried about that, but when it came down to individual instruction, you could really tell there was about a third of them that needed one-on-one instruction, and they either chose not to do it, they kind of just scribbled it real fast and tried to turn it in, maybe I wouldn't see it. And the smaller class size, it was an aha moment for me to realize
so
that
20 isn't small?
20 is not small. I would say
what
even
are you talking about
15
small?
I wouldn't.
This is for elementary.
Yeah, but even now that my kids are in high school and when they were even in junior high, there is very little time for individual instruction. And if your kids need that, that's a problem. But I know the middle school and the high school have both gone to after-school instruction. The high school has Night Academy, and it's 4 days a week, and there is almost always a chemistry, math, and an English teacher there to get individual instruction. It's awesome. It's really awesome. And in the beginning, community partners funded that, and it was volunteer, and now they've built it into their budget, and I think it's 4 years old.
Wow.
It's a great program, and they have access to the computer, so if you don't have a computer at home, you can get more time. And
how involved have you been with the foundation in fundraising, things like that?
Well, we're not very good fundraisers. I'll just admit that. We did really good. Arnie Cagle, the original founding members, did a really good job in the beginning of fundraising, and I had come on that board after a large sum of the money had been already donated. But we've kind of we have kept it going. We have 4 new board members now. We just partnered at the back to school event and did our 5K. So I think we're on a good momentum again to start doing more simple fundraising with the foundation. Is all volunteer board. There's about 8 of us on there. And the money that we do give away now is endowment money, so we give away the proceeds.
Are you allowed to stay on the foundation if you're elected school board?
That was a really good question, and I asked both boards, and they said yes.
Okay.
So, because we don't give the school district any money. It's all, well, okay, I take that back. We give teacher grants, but they're for projects like to go on a field trip or buy calculators for kids that don't. We funded the SAT class 1 year that the high school provides on Wednesdays. So but we don't give teachers.
Which all costs that
yeah,
did not cover
no teacher salaries or anything for buildings or anything like that. And most of it is for student scholarships to college or technical schools.
Well, thanks for coming in. It's good to get to know you a little bit. I'll give you a chance. What have we not asked you that you want to share with us or share with what people would want to know before they decide to vote for you?
I guess if anybody knows me, I am a hard worker. I jump in with both feet. I may not always know all the answers, which is obvious today, but I will find out. I will find out the answers, and I'm a fair person, and I try to be unbiased when it comes to hard decisions. And as a business owner and a property owner in Bremerton and invested with my kids, the kids will come first, but I think the kids have to take responsibility for their education, and so do parents. It can't be all on the teachers.
Jonee, thanks for coming in.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jonee.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.